네, 2020 LCK
2020 LCK Spring split Gen.G versus APK.
누나 없이 하는
Match
마지막
number
날이니까
38. It was game number 1.
오늘도 와디드님 함께하도록 하겠습니다.
We'll be joined by Bitdory and Wadid for today's analyst task.
양팀 젠지 같은 경우에는 초반에 한번 우위를 저으면 그걸로
Gen.G
불리기로 뭐
is
워낙
so
정적이
good at
낮고
snowballing with a lead in early game. But APK, they are always aggressive regardless of their state of the game. So what's your take on their draft? So we will talking about more details of Zillion later on, so I want to focus on Ezreal coming out of a strong teams. Well, you can see that strong teams always lock in Ezreal, and it's a huge insurance for late game. So compared to Ezreal from weaker teams, when you pick Ezreal with stronger teammates, it has so much power. So Gen.G just smoothly snowballed throughout their lead. So it was more like a solo carry show coming out of Ezreal from Ruler. So this is one of those moments that we just mentioned. APK did not just go in for some weird invade on red buff, but at the same time they were a little bit too confident at this moment, because they were so disjointed, because when Rek'Sai went in for engage, Syndra was actually just pushing the mid lane wave. And Ezreal, True Shot Barrage found 3 people before this team fight, so he was able to just solo down MF later on. So Ruler was able to come online really early than we expected, coming out from so many kills that happened in this game. Well, APK, being aggressive can be their strength, but well, being way too aggressive for no reason is not a good thing, so they need to find their break. And regarding the current patch and meta, we want to talk about the Frostmancy or the Spell Thief and no farm meta. So if you farm more than 20 CS post 5 minutes or per 5 minutes, you get less gold. See this screen over here. So when Ixu was pushing wave, he only got 6 gold for that range minion. So because of the patch around the Spell Thief item, he got a huge debuff in terms of CS farming. So Ixu decided to just sell the support item. But you actually pay 400 gold for that item, but when you sell it, it's only 160, so that's a huge gold deficit. So as a laner, there's a point where you have to start farming, so you cannot just wait for the debuffs to fall off, because it stays forever with that item. So that's why Ixu made that decision. So it was not a bad try, but it was up against Ornn. So that was not a very smart choice. Well, there are some champions that have a good result during the scrims, and there are some champions that actually pop off in competitive games. But Ornn is definitely an OP champion in competitive games, so why did APK open this card at the beginning of this game? So we will also might see no farm Victor coming in for competitive games as well, so we just wanted to kind of break down these details of this strategy. And player of the game for game number 1 will be Ruler on Ezreal for game number 1. As we mentioned, some of the skilled Ezreal players are just so popping off in this meta, because now Ezreal is back in meta, now taking some of different runes. And at the same time, if they manage to pick up multiple kills in like mid game, they can kind of accelerate really early. Ruler was doing so many work in the front line as soon as he was so scaled up enough. This time, Ruler actually went with Concora for a rune, so we have 2 different rune choices for the current meta, so it depends on the situation, and Ruler made a huge value of this rune today, so let's move on to game number 2.
Thank you so much, G-Sun, for the analyst desk translation, and here we are for game 2 between Gen.G and APK Prince as we're speedrunning our way through the first match of our final day of week 4. Let's see whether Ruler can do it again, or whether, finally, something's going to happen in the ban phase that might hinder his ability to pop completely off.
Well, the secret is going to be Mia for game number 2, as
taking out
Maya
the old guard
is coming in.
Yep.
Did it there?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
I saw you did that.
You saw that?
I liked Mia's work in the famous Moulin Rouge song.
Okay.
Alongside,
Yeah, sure.
a lot of
Great.
other famous artists. I think I think maybe it was a different named artist. It's a long time ago since I've heard that particular song. Never mind. Let's get into ban and pick for game number 2. And APK will move to our blue side, so now it's on Gen.G to ban away things like the Ornn.
Maybe they just don't even ban Ornn.
Maybe
well,
they
actually,
just don't ban anything.
You know what? I suppose you do still have to ban Ornn Soraka, and maybe you just do Ornn Soraka Alawi. And Ixu, he built a Rod of Ages 20+ minutes into the game with mobility boots as well on Zilean. So
yeah, and Rod of Ages doesn't accelerate based on being Zilean either, which is maybe what he got confused about.
Ixu is the most Johnny top laner in LCK. And if you don't know what Johnny is, Johnny's the person that always wants to just be different when it comes to strategy things. So,
well, Misfortune going to be taken away here. It was interesting talking about the Frostmancy attempt, as this is the very standard bans that we should be seeing almost every red side. Set is going to be locked in first, and now Rascal can play his desired counterpick into it. Actually, the center volley bear was so much better.
Yeah,
why don't they just play that? And Yumi's still available, and it blocks the Yumi.
Who knows? I mean, that Morgana might be going top lane.
Oh, that's got to be top. Oh,
yeah,
no,
I mean, Pyke might be top.
It's Morgana Pyke.
Okay.
Bottom lane. It might be that one of these champions is played by Ixu, though, because we have seen, I believe it was Hybrid.
The last time they played Morgana Pyke, they actually won with it, I believe. I think Mia even got the MVP.
Yep,
so,
on his Pyke, he was the first Pyke MVP of the season, actually.
He was the first Pyke MVP. Very proficient at the champion. And we'll see what this can end up meaning here in this game. Gen.G locking in the Jarvan.
This is already terrifying for Gen.G, though, because Senatom Kench has been extraordinarily stable. Jarvan hasn't lost yet on in the hands of Clid. He is still a menace on that particular pickup, and they haven't given away anything in this draft yet. I mean, yes, you're looking at things like the Rumble as being very strong, paired alongside it, which should likely be banned here by APK, Rascal, and BDD, both of them. Very much like the little Yordle in a mech, but let's see where their mind is going to go. Pantheon might also be a ban, just because he has been so strong, and Gen.G very much like to play it. But let's see, it's just jungles being banned on the side of Gen.G.
And it's also a bit bizarre that they ban away the Olaf when they have the Jarvan, they have the Tahm Kench, 2 champions that are just fantastic at resisting him.
Yep.
And so now Lucian being hovered, and this would mean they need a massive magic damage champion to end up coming out. The way that APK's comp currently is right now, Cassiopeia not looking that bad if it would come in on R5.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. We got a flexible Akali. So Akali being picked in the LCS earlier on today or yesterday, depending on what the time is over where you guys are. I feel like she has retained some level of priority here, and we've seen her work out in the right hands. Let's see whether Gen.G can pilot it effectively. Still a flex pick, which is, I guess, what they were looking for. As, okay, Flawless going to be going real ham this game. As we've got a pick comp sort of finding itself here in this game, but the set doesn't necessarily fit into what they're trying to do. Oh god, pick and poke, boys and girls.
Yeah, this is a extremely red-blue kind of comp. I don't. We have not seen something like this in LCK
To be
at
honest,
all. I don't even know.
I'd really like this comp.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all.
If that set was a Fiora or a Camille or something that can side lane a little bit better than a Set can. I feel like Set is decent, right, sitting in a side lane, but he's not like one of these split pushes that really does demand a whole lot of attention. As B2D is going to take his Azir a lot of comfort here in this game. As Clid on his extremely famous Jarvan. You've got even Life playing Tahm Kenshi was very good at that when it was more of a meta pick, and Rascal was almost the top lane Akali alongside players like King when she was so dominant. But APK's composition is interesting.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see how it's actually all going to come together once we get onto the Rift.
So Rascal's going to be up there on the Akali versus the Set. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Akali, I think, just used to be Set's worst matchup before she was nerfed. So,
yeah,
she's still going to be good against him, even though she's had her kneecaps sort of sledgehammer taken to them.
Yeah.
But
she's doing okay without her kneecaps, though.
It's also Rascal up against Ixu, and Ixu on a standard top laner. So even though Set is perceived as being really strong right now, I'm going to give the edge to Rascal in the matchup despite Akali's current standing. Now, the Nidalee, Jace, Morgana, and Pyke, that is a pick and poke kind of a team composition that gets very interesting where the Set does not align with it whatsoever, sort of like how you already pointed out. On the flip side, for Gen.G, much more just stable, standard, all-around type of team composition where if they get ahead, they can just run straight at APK.
Yeah. And they've got 2 tanks, much like a very standard front-to-back composition would run. They also have a champion that can dive into the backline very effectively in the Akali and cause a ruckus. And then Senna is going to be not only helping the entire team, but able to put out that consistent DPS in a fight as well. I've got a bit of a. What do you feel about this name for the style of composition that APK has at the moment? Can I try a name out for you? I know you're more of the coining the new names for stuff, but I was thinking a greenhouse comp, because a greenhouse is really beautiful for, you know, making sure that all of your plants grow in a really effective way.
There's no plants in this game.
But but the greenhouse is made of glass. And if anything dives on into the greenhouse, everything's just going to collapse. It's very fragile. And APK need to play this composition really, really well for it to work, because you need to keep your opponents at a safe distance and you need to poke them out throughout any sort of extended engagement before you can possibly throw the Set in for an engage.
So you want to go with greenhouse?
Because I am thinking like if you're in people in glass houses don't throw stones type thing, you know, like that sort of saying.
But okay,
maybe glass house. Maybe I should just call it glass house instead.
Glass house is a lot easier.
Okay,
it rolls a
Can I ask the collective? What is the collective?
The collective already has the answer of which you seek.
Yeah, they don't like greenhouse very much.
Yeah.
But can we get some we've got glass house pogs? Any glass house pogs in there? No? I got some Vegas. That's basic.
Yeah, good job, Alice. You know what? Leave the naming.
I was trying so hard.
Yeah. All right. Well, Flawless, not actually going for a full clear here on Nidalee. Going for a bit more of an aggressive opening. Jace also has the Scorch, and so does Azir. Meanwhile, up in top lane, Rascal with fleet footwork, all the sustain, Ravenous Hunter, Taste of Blood on him as well. Demolish on Set, not a super big fan of it.
And also going back to the set that doesn't have Conqueror, Aftershock set, we saw rise in popularity after, I believe, Roach did it first off and played like the full-on tanky engage style set that isn't able to split push. And I actually think that that's the entire opposite of what APK want to use the set for, honestly. Because actually what he needs to be is a facilitator for a possible 4-1 siege style of composition, which the rest of the champions really lend themselves to.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm just reading it wrong.
No, I think this Aftershock set is a bit peculiar. Akali's a pseudo-range champion in the sense that she conducts herself normally throughout laning phase just by using her Q poke. But obviously, yes, she is melee. You know what Akali reminds me of? Sheik.
Yeah.
She has very Sheik vibes.
Yeah, especially now. In
Yeah.
more of like the brawl meta as Flawless going to flash. And they're going to trade Rift Scuttle for Flashes. Now Flawless actually looking for Clid right here. Flashes the wall, and Keeney's going to make his way in. BDD, not too many options to get them out of this one. Great double knock-up, but I don't know whether it's going to buy enough space. And now BDD's going to have to take the long way around. First blood going over to Keeney. Fantastic for this style of composition.
Yeah. Jace getting the first blood is super great. I'm actually blanking on if Keeney was going Presence of Mind second. I didn't actually look at it on the Jace. It's something we talked about on the broadcast earlier in the week, where the Monomune Jace with Monoflow Band and Presence of Mind is just so strong for poking.
Yeah. Well, Flawless actually going to back away from this one, as Life and Ruler able to get the inside track and will be able to feed that Rift Scuttle experience and gold over to Clid to get him back into this game. Really heads up play from Gen.G to make sure that their jungler isn't going to be too anemic after this initial gang.
Look at this, look at this, look at this. I really like how close Flawless is actually keeping his mouse. Champion keeps saying, no flash, we got him.
Yeah, and also
I like that they
kill
gave it to
Jace.
Keeney.
Yeah.
Gives the double buffs over to Keeney. And Keeney's getting the serrated Dirk. It doesn't mean that he can't eventually go into tier, but probably not likely. And when you go lethality Jace, that's the Jace that you use for the
mid-game
burst.
Yeah.
The burst, trying to kill them immediately, not for the sustained poke that eventually forces them onto you. Lethality is for straight up brawling as well as split pushing.
Yeah, I guess you do need the extra mana that a Manamune would have if you are going to go for those extended sieges. Still, the Shock Blast in the mid-game is going to hurt a heck of a lot, so still will work in those moments. Flawless moving himself up. Rascal will have the what is it? Twilight Shroud? How did I not have Twilight Shroud in my brain?
Probably you're thinking about the movie Twilight, and
Yeah, I
you
think
just
so.
try to erase that, and then your brain tries to compartmentalize everything that can possibly block out the word Twilight.
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, I think that must have been what it was.
Yeah. Edward Pattinson's the new Batman. Did you see that?
It's Robert Pattinson. His name isn't Edward, dude.
Edward Cullen.
Yeah, Edward Cullen I'm going to give too much away of the amount of knowledge that I have about Twilight.
Why do you know that? Why do you know that, Atlas?
Yeah, I walked into that one, didn't I? Oh, it's a disaster. Flawless is back towards the top side, looking for another attempt onto Rascal, but he still has his flash, and the wave is underneath that turret, so he should be absolutely fine, and should even out the CS margin as well. Keeney still in the mid lane, doesn't have his double buffs anymore, so BDD should be a little bit more comfortable as Mia is going to move on around, and will spot this control ward as he makes his way in here. Teleport back from Ixu. He's got himself his Phage. He will be picking up the Black Cleaver this game. You don't generally see Trinity Force paired with the likes of the Aftershock.
And Flawless just going to steal the red buff away. He is up a level on Clid right now. And remember, Gen.G's team composition, it needs more time until it starts coming online. This is pretty standard for the Nidalee to be outpacing the Jarvan.
Yep.
She did start with the first blood assist. Now, the Fairy Charm is very perplexing to me.
I think
that
just
if
having the extra money.
having the extra money is
And then you
peculiar
just
because
spend it on that? I don't know.
if you're really concerned about mana, it's not a rush that you get the Runic Echo. Or if it is still a rush, then you can just get the Sapphire Crystal. Or just get the Dark Seal if you want both mana and AP.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
a bit
it's one of those.
peculiar.
It's one of those things that we see a lot of laners pick up just if they have the excess money. Now Ruler is not going to be stunned up. It does have to use the flash to get out of the way of Mia's pike. Piercing Darkness not necessarily working as the Grievous wounds were on from the Ignite. But Flash Ignite down from Mia. Double Summon is still up for Trigger in trade for just Ruler's Flash. So theoretically, still a downgrade for APK. And Life is like really out farming Trigger here as well.
He's doing a really good job. As Rascal also doing a pretty good job on the Akali.
Yeah, avoiding a lot of what Ixu's trying to throw at him here as Kaney, will be spotted on this ward. Shock Blast avoided. Rascal comes over and just 5 points strikes this one down. Flawless has started off Shelly, and she should be claimed here as a lot of damage is now available for APK as Ixu comes down to join. So some plates on offer for APK to try and extend this lead.
Other thing going on here is Gen.G are really just stabilized pretty much everywhere, which is not what you would expect given the amount of pick that APK has and the things that they can do with lane manipulation. But you have Ixu perma pushing into Akali, achieving quite literally nothing whatsoever. And then Mia and Trigger just playing bouncing fest with the waves. Kaney not even trying to really freeze on his side of the lane. And not that it's really super effective against Azir, especially when he has his level 6 available. But this is just something that we've talked about on the LCK broadcast for weeks on end, where laners don't manipulate their lane states relative to their jungler's pathing. And when you're playing a comp like this that wants to get ahead, it wants to be oppressive, wants to outspeed the opponent, you gotta wonder what is really going on here.
Yeah, because right now APK are not able to leverage their jungle advantage as much as they would like to. And unfortunately, that means that it's going to be more difficult to transition this comp into a mid and late game that they are going to be able to thrive in, because this is a composition that is one of those finesse style of comps, right? That does need to play out in a specific way in order to work. When it does, it feels really strong. When it doesn't, it feels pretty worthless as PDD does throw Flawless away. Flashes out of the pit as well as Piercing Darkness flies in, but the Nidalee doesn't last long enough to warrant an assist, as Gen.G still winning the fight despite the ultimate flying off at a 90-degree angle from the action.
And that is a pretty big swing in tempo. It is a little unfortunate. Ixu is just so far behind this Akali up in top lane. Also not itemizing the way that you should want to against the Akali and the Azir. No Hex Drinker, no tier 2 boot rush, and instead just opting for a Phage. I mean, the real cherry on top is if he builds a Black Cleaver.
Oh, he's building a Black Cleaver.
Oh, you know that he's building it. He's building it for the, yeah. Well, it's a really simple kill right there. Ruler not able to get any assistance there via the Senna. Not going to be the end of the
from
world.
Behind the turret. Now Rascal and Ixu are fighting. Haymaker not going to find the sweet spot, but still doing enough damage there. Now Shelly comes in and will claim some plates for the APK squad. Yeah, a bunch of extra gold there now available, but that turret does stay alive and will be pretty strong for the next couple of minutes, given those plates being still available. So now Rascal looking to go home, but will be giving up actually a fair bit, given the demolish that Ixu had packed in his set build.
Well,
and Flawless actually, counter jungling quite well so far. Hasn't equated to too much of a lead, especially after a bit of a blunder there in the earlier stages, as Mia is setting up shop here in the enemy jungle as well. But Ixu's getting punished. Rascal going to be missed by everything. Facebreaker only going to move him slightly closer to the wall, as now Mia is very squishy. And APK do need to vacate the area. Life is a big boy.
Life is definitely a bit of a big boy, yeah.
Yeah, Life comes at you fast sometimes, especially with a dead man's play, I'll tell you that much. And, we'll see whether he's going to be able to play the front line that Gen.G needs. They do have, like, Gen.G do have the tools to deal with what APK has on offer. That Shock Blast certainly being an example of it, but you need dive ability. And Jarvan and Akali are both fantastic at that. Azir himself also pretty good at getting in there with the Shurima Shuffle.
No, I want to point out that the only potential upside for this completely wonky off-theme set is that with the Black Cleaver, if he does apply a bit of armor shred to certain targets, it does bolster the lethality from the Jace and the Pike.
Yeah. Well, there's the flash bone skewer, and Ruler is just dead. Kaney couldn't even find the shock blast damage, as now second Drake should be hand delivered over to APK. If this is a Mountain Soul, Gen.G are going to be so incredibly happy, and it is. APK needs to hold on to the advantage that they have because Mountain Soul ruins their deck.
Yeah, it really does. Hurts all of the lethality items so much. Hurts the Nidalee because she's probably going to start going utility here by getting Athene's and maybe even Ardent Sensor. Not really sure how utility she'll end up going.
Yep. I don't mind the Ardent
What is
Sensor.
this skin on the map? You saw that?
That was because he was underground.
Okay.
That was like Mia probably
Looked like
could've-
Doomsday.
Mia could have death from below there, I think, to at least get an extra 300 gold for the team. But, you know, kill's a kill. Can't be too nitpicky. As Life just having a great time farming around here towards the bottom side. More of these orbs being taken by the center as well. And our rule is going to be towards that Umbral Glaive relatively quickly as, wow, that grazed the backside of Rascal, but didn't take any damage for it.
Yeah. Ping pong just gonna continue to happen. We are in a bit of a lull state here.
Yeah.
As Athene's Unholy Grail will be the item of choice, I believe, for the Nidalee. Jace?
Yeah. So I was just going to say, like, now that we are in the lull state,
Yeah.
we're not. Actually, as Rascal, he's going to get Superplex.
You jinxed it.
Yeah,
You jinxed it, didn't you?
I am really sorry.
Yeah.
I probably should have noticed that there were a couple of members of APK, and then only one of Gen.G is now cleared. Just being very patient here. Finally shows himself as the knock-up not going to land there onto Mia. Dawning Shadow flies in. Kaney flashes out of the Cataclysm, but cleared. He's going to be there. Oh, the spike back double kill there from BDD, who's now healing and running towards the enemy turret. This is dangerous, but BDD still has so much damage available in the tank. And Ruler comes on over, does have the extra heal up there as well, and they could just transition into a mid lane siege.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what they're gonna do right now. Set up there in top lane, getting some value. Sir Thomas down there in bot, just farming up comfortably.
Oh yeah. And is he Sir Thomas when he's able to get all of this farm?
Absolutely.
Because I was having
he's not.
We were talking about it, Valdez and I, on the cast when we first saw it, and I was like, I just wonder whether now that he's able to get all of this extra farm and all this extra money, he's reclaimed his knighthood.
Yeah, he's not Tim.
Yeah.
So
It's really good to know. Really
right
good to
here,
know.
you can see Kaney it looks like he's the first to react to what ended up happening, and there was really just nothing they could do once they were committed. Kaney's decision, though, a bit peculiar. They had the teleport coming in from Trigger, but none of this really matters. Ruler shows up, the heal's on wheels, able to be there from the Senna. They're going to get Shirley, but she doesn't really do anything at this point other than potentially open up Azir's turret, which it is valuable, but they are losing out in bot lane farm and XP. Azir's going to get all solo XP as APK is going to be forced to share.
Yep. And also, yeah, this is going to take down the turret, but Sun Turret can be erected in its place immediately. And I don't think Gen.G are going to be claiming that this is the end of the world or anything like that, as Ruler looks for a Piercing Darkness that doesn't actually find the mark. And I feel like, you know, Gen.G are down 400 gold or something like that, but it feels like it doesn't really mean anything, given where the money is on Gen.G's side, because BDD getting fed, it feels like no matter what champion he's on, it's going to be a really big problem for the opposition side, but on the Azir, it just gets even worse.
Yeah, it really does. So, very surprising turn of events here. They're dead even on gold, but you don't want to be even on gold. If you're APK's team comp, 45 seconds until Mountain Drake. Rascal gonna be brought to, or I think he's gonna be escorted to safety here.
I believe so, but Haymaker does come in. Fair bit of damage does come down, but Flawless, can he actually sneak himself a spear? The answer is no. Still aggressively moving forward as Ixu understands this will be a 2v2 as Rascal can't re-enter the fight.
Flawless
Flit gets out, I believe, with the red buff. I'm not entirely
It's actually
sure.
really surprising. Flawless should move in front of this turret and then try to cancel the recall again on Nidalee, or Akali, and then immediately run over to the Mountain Drake with their team, because as it stands right now, is Katie recalling? He's actually inting, as Mountain Drake is coming up in 3 seconds. I'm not sure what anyone's actually doing right now. Ixu's
I feel like
up
we
in...
should be prioritizing this a little bit more. You're right.
It's really trained. Now, obviously, Ixu and Rascal, they both have teleport, but they're losing very important priority to not only the dragon, but also the Scuttle Crab.
And what this APK composition can do is allow Mia's Pike to get out onto the map, which is what he's doing. But somehow, Gen.G actually have more map presence here in this river than what APK has, despite their composition being built to have it.
It's very
Trigger
peculiar.
taking a lot of poke.
Ixu is here now. Rascal as well, but I would say that Gen.G have the favorable position, and now that Pikey is going to be on cooldown.
Yeah, that's actually a huge deal as Flawless. He's well away from this pit, and Clit is going to be able to lock down that Mountain Drake so easily. That's a huge blunder from APK. They needed to be able to fight for that dragon, but no even 50-50 attempt was made.
And it's really looking like if this game continues on at this pace, that APK are gonna have a lost soul in the dragon.
No. Oh no.
Little unfortunate for them. Mountain Soul is the exact thing that they really would hate to play against.
Well, double lethality is done for Kaney. It is a relatively big spike. It's unfortunate that they weren't able to fight around the Drake with it, but maybe the next one they'll be able to utilize that. 4 minutes, not going to be too much time. As I believe BDD looking to go back home. We'll see what he buys next, whether he sits on the arm guard or completes his Zhonya's. And he is going to sit on it. Looks like it is going to be the Luden's Echo coming in next, just to make sure that BDD has a bit more control of his mana. Don't mind that at all, and he's just getting stronger and stronger as this game goes on. Just waiting for that BDD super play to secure this one for Gen.G, as Clit will allow Flawless just to base check. Flash does come in, great knock-up onto Mia, who misses the Bone Skewer, has to flash to get out of the Cataclysm, but life is still running at them. Predator on his head, as Mia had popped that one. They do make it out. Spooky Ghosts online for Trigger, alongside his Super Soaker. Halloween Pool Party certainly ready for this APK bottom laner. They are getting shoved back. And the Senatom Kench have been just very comfortable this game, sitting pretty. This particular Morgana Pike combo didn't seem to be the Achilles heel that we've been looking for against this combination of champions.
At this point, 3 minutes until the next Mountain Drake comes up, and it's very good. Gen.G, they're itemizing some resistances on their champions. Obviously, Tom Kench going to benefit a lot from this, as tends to just build armor items for the most part. So getting a lot of value right there. Akali, not sure what her second item is going to be.
Well, could be that Forbidden Book.
It could be.
Never know.
The
Leandri's
Forbidden
is
Book.
very good, though.
Leandri's
Especially
is
with a Hextech Gunblade.
super fantastic, especially because it's only the Nidalee who has the non-active healing on the side of APK. So the healing is extremely minimal out of APK. So multiple Leandri's procs as well as Madness.
Whoa. Life survived for an extraordinarily long time, as the flash does come out from him anyway. Gets himself to safety in front of the 5 people that were trying to siege down this inner turret. This is what the composition wants to try to do. It's so much better if it was 4-1, but never mind. Sometimes you got to work with what you're given. With APK, they do shove the wave out and now look to set up vision around this Baron. Spotting out that control ward, but Rift Scuttle vision's not going to be able to be removed. And this game going as slow as it is seems to be benefiting Gen.G just fine.
Kaney on the outskirt of that turret. Does end up falling. Taking a look at the gold difference over time.
Bit of a heart monitor.
Yeah. Rascal. Not sure how far ahead he is, actually. Oh, no, actually. It's only slightly far ahead of Ixu. Slightly far ahead. You like that?
Yeah, I like
You didn't even catch it.
No,
Come on.
I caught it. I thought it was just fantastic. So
Oh, thank you.
Didn't require
The
a
Forbidden
comment.
Book
Yep,
picked
there
up.
we go. You need to get your phone out.
So, the thing is that Akali can just sit on Oblivion Orb if you want the penetration against the Morgana and the Pike. But there's already magic resistances present on Nidalee, on Set, on Jace. So you're not getting as much value as if you just built a Void Staff.
Yeah.
Sitting on Oblivion Orb, not completing to Morello is so much better.
And then he could have had a Haunting Guys as well, and that Madness passive could have been coming in. As Rascal can get dove on here by Flawless, but the damage offering back is actually working out here for Rascal. Piercing Darkness and Ruler trying to keep everyone alive as now the fight is going to happen. Cataclysm into the backline. Look for BDD to see what he can actually get done in this fight. There it is. The ult lands onto one. He grabs 3 kills. Mopping everyone up, and that's going to be the last one going over to Ruler. Flawless is still alive, but he's going to have to watch as this Baron is taken by Gen.G.
And so Flawless, he's probably going to shove out mid-wave and then immediately go over to Mountain. No, he's actually just going to go to Mountain right away. I actually think this is a bit of a mistake to not shove out mid-wave because Tom's going to run over with the Abyssal Voyage and obviously stop the Nidalee. So
there's no way that she can fight a dragon and a catfish.
that is
the
a
wombo
deadly
combo.
duo, yeah. That's not like something from Neverending Story. Now, Tom doesn't have magic resist, but Nidalee only has Sheen.
Do you know what life does have? A bajillion health.
Yeah.
And
as a
also,
crab.
Yeah, and
This
crab,
is a
his
bit
cousin.
like a National Geographic adventure.
It was
here.
a little bit.
Yeah.
We're going to check out BDD. I do want to say it looked like the ult only caught one, but maybe he caught it with more, because maybe it was the... Oh, God, yeah, it was 2 people that instantly just got wiped out.
Let's go.
I was looking for the knockups. My goodness.
It's, he said, let's go Baron. Jarvan with the Frozen Heart
All right.
is definitely a bit interesting, but remember, Set's
get buffed
passive
a
is
little.
influenced by his initial attack.
Yeah. Attack
And-
speed does scale very well
Yeah.
on this set.
Jace obviously can be hurt if you're on top of him.
Oh, Clid was predicting the flash. Didn't even come out. Still going to put 3 people into this Cataclysm. Nixu taken down to about half health. It looks like this Jarvan is just unkillable. And that looks to be a fact at this particular point in time. APK do make their way out. But Gen.G, they've really turned on at this stage of the game.
They're just so big right now. 4,000 gold advantage. Baron buff still alive for a minute and a half. They're going to pick up this Mountain Dragon. I really hope that the observers pan to one of the champions so we can see the amplification. Nope, we can't. We can't have nice things in life.
No, it's not about. That's not about that. I'll talk to Jonas Strong after this and see whether he can possibly try and make sure to hover over the champions that are on the team that are receiving the Drake so that we can do our experiments. But APK now floundering. 4,000 gold is the lead, but the Baron power play tells the big story. This game was very close until it wasn't. 2.3k right now with still a minute to go. And after a reset, we'll see what Gen.G can actually get done. Stopwatch completed as well on Rascal. And yes, it's the Forbidden Book, but it's still a lot of items. As Clid makes his way to the brush, and he's just going to get healed up. Ruler is over there, remember, as a very sustain-worthy support. But also AD carry, and does a whole lot of everything.
One of the things is that if APK can actually manage to find a Hail Mary teamfight with multiple Pike resets, in addition to the Azir bounty,
Oh yeah.
they can stay alive for a bit longer. Do I think that they can win off of that? Absolutely not. They're staring down Soul Point. I think the only universe where APK wins is if they drag this game out another 10, 15 minutes and somehow get to Elder.
I think they also need to outplay Gen.G on multiple occasions in order for it to work, right? And I just don't think that they can stand up to the caliber of player that Gen.G are representing in their 2020 form. This has been certainly one of those games that illustrates that not all teams the same here in the LCK.
If BDD builds Morello on Azir here, I'm gonna walk off. Next series, I believe that you have it.
I can give you an hour.
We're gonna call
I
in
can give you an
Valdez.
hour break.
All right.
Okay? Is that
There's
all right?
zero reason if that blasting wand is not a void staff.
It should be a voice.
It should always be a void staff. But who knows? He might be wanting to catch up on his reading.
Well, you look. Crazy things have happened. There is, in fact, an Akali in the top lane that has a Merlinomicon this game. And yes, the Primal Surge is an ability that Nidalee has that heals. And Morgana's passive has something to do with healing as well. Pyke likes to heal when he goes invisible, etc. But it's still not good. Squalus is searching for some spears, and these shot blasts are actually working out of KD. Ruler wants to throw over a Q if he can find one, but Mia does get him into the backline, but misses the ultimate completely. Ruler's going to get devoured and survive somehow. Oh my god, how did that even happen? As now it's all gone to hell in a handbasket for APK. Trigger goes golden, he will be taken down. Rascal survives for a very long time, and eventually Ixu finds him, but that stone plate ain't gonna be helping him. Splits up the fight as out goes Kaney.
Nice
Just
devour.
trying to keep someone alive, and yeah, Ixu, he's a delicious gargoyle right now as he's eaten on up by the very, very happy Sir Thomas. And even licks Kaney on the way out, which should be his death note. Ruler very low on health, but he can keep himself up again, and that's going to be the ace. And well-deservedly, an ace picked up by Life's Tahm Kench.
Now, there's not a lot of time on the Nidalee and the Morgana, so I don't think this will be the end of the game, although Rascal does have teleport available. All that I think is going to happen is they're going to capture mid. Well, I thought they were going to go for the inhibitor, but I guess they're respecting the wake up from Ixu and teleporting in from behind. So, at this point, they're just going to pillage the red side jungle a bit, take the red. Mountain up in a minute, they're going to reset.
Yeah, going for a reset I think is the most important part.
As I'm going in. Yeah. Life says, I will give you life. As he eats through.
That was ridiculous that Ruler survived for so long. It looked like Life was actually like counting the time for his auto attack to come back off cooldown or something. It's crazy.
Yep, saying when he's gonna eat him. There's no Jace, there's no Jace.
Damn, Life orchestrated that team fight. That was his symphony. That was the Sir Thomas symphony right there. That was what we were watching.
We need a Gentleman Tom skin with a monocle.
Yeah, I want like I want an opera goer Tahm Kench.
Oh, really?
Skin.
Okay.
Yeah. If Life wins Worlds and plays Tahm Kench, that's what I want.
Okay. Not a big deal.
That's, you know, might be getting slightly ahead of ourselves because we're still in the spring season. Still, we're looking for those flanking opportunities here on Mia's side. I think if this bone skewer lands onto Life, it might heal him. And yeah, it sort of looks like it does. He's in amongst 4 people, surviving for so long. A gigantic gargoyled up catfish is not a killable target for APK. And especially not after this Mountain Soul comes in. It is Poke's worst nightmare. And it is a team with 2 tanks' favorite thing in the world. Flash Cataclysm comes through onto any target Clid can find. Ixu taking a lot of damage as Rascal has found Flawless on the bottom side. Trigger also getting flagged and dragged towards his Clid, looking to try and grab him, but the Superplex is only going to secure the death of Ixu. Flawless goes down on the bottom side. Yeah, Dawning Shadow will be not a dawn for APK, but an equalization of the top of the standings here for the LCK as Gen.G get a very easy 2-0 up against APK. Mia looking for one last-ditch effort, but he dies as Azir looks at him. Sort of like Superman is Speedity here as he just whiffs his ultimate entirely, cast a curse as it was happening right there. But what isn't a curse is the Nexus falling down and Gen.G doing what we were expecting them to do, but very cleanly up against APK Prince. And they will allow us to have the longest possible break until Dragon X versus Grim.
It's going to be an extremely long break. as we're going to have almost an hour and a half
Yeah.
until Griffin versus Dragon X.
I don't know whether
Goron versus Sword.
I know.
To answer all the questions.
CV Max versus Griffin. UCal versus Chovy on the other side of the matchup. This is so crazy because remember, it was that 5-game summer season final in 2018. KT versus Griffin. UCal saving KT Rolster with Deft by his side against Chovy. And now it's Chovy that has Deft in his corner. And that's going to have to play out the other way. There are so many interesting storylines for this one. Who is the better top laner out of Doran and Sword? Are we going to answer the world's question that everyone was asking Griffin? We'll have to find out. But we do need to celebrate Gen.G playing some very clean League of Legends beforehand. The reason why we went to our next matchup so quickly is because, honestly, I think everyone and their dog were expecting this result from this series. APK certainly bottom of the table team. We were expecting that ever since the Kesper Cup. And Gen.G are looking stronger and stronger as these weeks go by. Arnold confirmed that it was probably all of his K-barbecue choices.
I did see that. Well, if you're an APK fan, can't really say that the result is too surprising.
No.
Even with some of the advantages they accrued early on, it just really doesn't seem to matter for them. Their mid into late transitioning is so weak.
And also that last comp was really hard to play.
Yeah.
If you're going to play it correctly, right?
That's the funny thing, right? We talked about this in the POG state.
Yeah, we did.
When you put much more responsibility on yourself that isn't necessary, because you have to ask yourself the question: is this necessary to win? And
look, it didn't win, so I guess
didn't
no.
win, but it's much more difficult to play APK's comp there than it is to play Gen.G's.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to check out some of the highlights here. I think most of them are going to involve a golden chicken, as BDD had one hell of a game. On his Azir, was able to pick up all the kills in the early game, and we saw in game number 1, Ruler, absolute hard carry. He now plays the fasting center and allows BDD to do the work. We've seen Clid carry games before.
Yeah.
In that game, even Life was probably a secondary carry, to be honest, because he was tanking so
Thomas.
effectively. Like, this is a team that can carry from multiple roles, that can all rely on each other to do their jobs, and they can do it in a whole lot of different modes as well, which I think is something that we've harped on about a lot, but it is fantastic to see it coming to fruition here in the LCK. I think T1 have done similar things, and especially illustrated that against Sandbox this week. The top of the standings are looking really exciting.
Yeah, it really is. And we'll see what ends up happening, obviously, in round 2, as next week is the end of round 1, right?
Yeah, so we've got 2 more days and a half of round 1.
And then it moves to 4-day weeks.
Yes, in theory. It depends what we're going to do about this whole coronavirus situation. Yep. We'll see exactly what happens. There are other sports institutions that are taking some time off. But let's have a look at some of the highlights here of Flawless. He navigated the early game much better than we've seen out of him, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
But
this Middle East skin as well, just so pretty.
It is very pretty.
It looks like one of the Celestial mounts from WoW.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, you know?
And not the one that you got from the trading card game.
The one in
the one
Wrath
that you
of
could
the
just buy.
Yeah, the really rare one.
The Reigns of the Spectral Tiger.
Oh,
that's exactly what you're
Alex,
talking about.
you are a bit of a savant.
Oh, dude, I know my overly expensive mounts that I never owned but always wanted to.
Yeah.
As Mia tries to get out of this one, Dawning Shadow across 2 people, Clid with the perfect timing on the stopwatch. And that wasn't exactly a BDD super play. This was just BDD doing what we know he can do on this Azir every single time, and sidestepping almost every skill shot during that passage of play as well.
Yeah.
Really impressive stuff out of BDD.
And so,
although Clid had probably one of the best recovery jungler games that we've seen in a really long time, this particular play here did instantly get BDD the player of the game, but Life, honorable mention, Clid, honorable mention, even Rascal playing the Akali pretty well, and Ruler keeping everyone alive. This moment of Ruler saying, don't worry, I got you. And he was stunned, that's why he didn't need him. It just Didn't last long enough for APK to actually lock down the kill.
Well, in the end, I gave my MVP vote to BDD.
Me too. And I think he absolutely deserved it.
We'll see who ends up getting it, though. We're always sometimes a bit surprised.
Well, actually, this time around, if it goes to BDD Life or Clid, I'm not upset.
That's why it needs to go to Ruin.
I liked him throwing out a late ultimate, whilst also winning an exchange 2v2 in the bottom lane. I did enjoy that moment.
Rascal down here at the bottom, just trying to get himself that mount.
MVP.
Yeah.
I think. As Ixu is disconnected entirely.
The sound has died for me.
Big fun?
The sound.
Oh, has it?
Yes.
Okay.
That is interesting.
I can still hear you.
I can hear you.
All right, but you can't hear that.
Yeah, it's very strange.
You can turn it up. It is down really low on your machine.
I actually always keep it low. I can... I don't know. Whoever puts on the headset...
It's actually quite... It's quite loud.
I can hear it now.
As Gen.G with a very easy 2-0 here to start off the day. It means that now we're sitting at 6:30 p.m. and our next match starts at 8.
An hour and a half.
Yeah, we got some time. We got some time to really just comprehend what it's going to be for CV Max to versus Griffin.
Going to be a lot of anticipation coming up for this match.
And actually, I don't know what this is going to mean for how these teams play as well, because when emotions get to these Dragon X players, they can look like a very different team.
Yeah.
Quite a disgruntled team.
And I'd actually imagine that some of them might even be influenced by the nature surrounding this match.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the top lane is like, it's so nuanced and so
top
interesting.
Lane
like the amount of answers to questions that people are looking for.
Is Chovy going to show up today? Or we haven't seen him. Choki has not been seen around the arena.
Well, we're going to have a look at player of the game. It will be BDD, and it's 9 out of 9, my friend. Don't you worry, we are all on the same page today. 100% Ruler, 100% BDD, and they 100% carried these games. As BDD actually messed that one up a little bit. I think he probably could have got the Conquering Sands to move a little bit further forward, but that's just nitpicking, and he still managed to turn around that gang. In the mid lane, as it's just some exemplary play from all of Gen.G, to be honest, throughout this series. They weren't tested very much at all by APK. But I think you can take away a lot of things, even from games like this against lower tier players, because this is about how cleanly you can close out a game that you should easily be able to win, right? Because there are a lot of teams that can just clown Fiesta in moments like this.
Yeah, they really can. They can turn into the whole circus.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's something that Afrika used to do. Their old identity was they could tend to go a little bit too crazy in games that they were expected to win. Hama Life, however, were very, very good at always beating teams below them and losing to teams above them. And you can see that at the moment, the teams above them are a few too many. As we do have a look, Gen.G are written as being in first place, but don't worry guys, Tier 1 are in first place. We'll have to see after round 2 as to whether that can be evened out. Might actually have a tie-break scenario.
We sort of have like a of yester season, Griffin and Jin Air going on, with the top teams versus APK are locked in equilibrium.
Yeah, it's like it's a real strange thing having sort of a first season in a really long time that Griffin haven't been performing, because it was 3 seasons in a row of them being just so dominant.
Well, the team broke up, so it's not really the team anymore. So
yeah. I mean, the majority, I guess, of the team did stay, like Sword, Tarzan, and Viper all being there. Cabby already being a member of the team as well. So theoretically, there's only sort of one big swap. But I think you're right. It doesn't feel like the same Griffin. Let's see which Griffin is going to turn up after a very long break. Dragon X versus Griffin. We need some time to prepare. And we'll see you afterwards.